7 o'clock, Thursday, June 12th. On the meeting of the Agricultural Commission to order. Anyone wishing to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time.
No, I don't see anyone
Nope.
online.
All righty,
Interest?
let's see, can I get somebody to second to approve the minutes of the last meeting?
John, we need to do intros first.
Oh,
And then
okay.
have Jessica do her
I-
presentation, and then we can jump into the agenda.
I was ready to jump with all
Okay.
introductions. All right, why don't we just go around the room and everybody introduce themselves? I'm John Webble, current chairman of the Agricultural Commission.
John Mathias.
Missy Bateman, Board of Selectmen.
Debbie Muller, animal inspector.
Jean Landis Norman, associate member.
Rui Santos, member.
Beth Corbett, member.
Jessica Fox, and I run South Shore Permaculture.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, everybody. Now, may we approve the minutes of the last meeting? Has everybody had a chance to look at them?
No. You have your guests go first,
Oh,
then we jump to the agenda.
okay.
And my mistake, I
All right.
apologize, I did not put her
Oh,
on the
okay.
agenda.
I'm
even though
sorry,
we
Jessica.
Set it up ahead of time. So my apologies to everyone, and especially to Jessica.
Well, I appreciate that, but no worries. I am happy to keep it short and, even just maybe answer some direct questions if anyone has any. I can kind of give you a basic rundown of what permaculture is first, and then, yeah, if you have more specific questions, I'm happy to answer. So permaculture is a combination of permanent and agriculture. It was originally coined by two gentlemen in Australia back in the 1970s, Bill Mollison and David Holgram. Essentially, what they were looking to create was a design methodology that would allow them to grow food in a very environmentally friendly way. They did this through their own education and experiences, interest in engineering, design, agriculture. They also observed the Aboriginal people of Tasmania. So essentially with permaculture, what we're doing is working with the land. We're mimicking what nature does on its own, and we're trying to create systems that mirror what nature does. That's kind of the short version of that. That said, it has over time since the 1970s evolved, and it has gone from permanent agriculture to really permanent culture. And so the ideas of permaculture can now, well, I shouldn't say can now, but are now being applied to more than just the agricultural systems that we're creating. So you can use it to design something like a backyard garden, but you can also use it to design an entire city or community. And so that's how it's kind of expanded into permanent culture. And I'll say too that it's more than just a design methodology. It really is a whole ideology. It's a whole set of ways of viewing the world and interacting with, yes, the land, but also with your fellow humans. So what it's actually made up of is 3 ethics: earth care, people care, and fair share. They're all fairly self-explanatory. Earth care, we're taking care of the earth. People care, we're taking care of our fellow humans. And fair share, yes, refers to sharing tangible things like food or resources, but it also refers to sharing things like knowledge, access to land, etc. Then it consists of 12 principles. So you have, I'm not going to go through all 12 because that's going to take probably way more than my 15 minutes, but the top 2, in my opinion, are the first principle, which is to observe and interact, and number 4, which is to use and value diversity. So how would you actually apply these? So the first, observe and interact. In an ideal scenario, and before I say that, I want to mention it's a spectrum. Agriculture in general is a spectrum. It's not an all or nothing, black or white. You can do some permaculture and it still counts. It doesn't have to be a perfect application of this methodology. So when I speak of an ideal situation, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you have to do or that's what would count as permaculture and nothing else. But I think it helps to exemplify this principle by speaking in terms of ideal situations. So let's say you were to move to a new home and you want to design the landscape for your new home. Ideally, you're going to be waiting an entire year to start designing this system. And of course, you can like brainstorm and whatnot, but the actual application of or implementation of the design should really wait that whole year, because ideally what you're doing is observing that landscape through all 4 seasons and through as many different weather systems as possible. Things that you're going to notice in that process, how water moves through your landscape, where the sun moves through the sky, what elements or sectors do you need to account for in your design. So for us here, something like fire is not really an issue, but obviously in other parts of the country and the world, that is a very real issue. So that's something you want to account for in your design. Here, maybe it's more like wind, things like that. And so these are different things that we can account for. And so the process of observing and interacting is essentially in permaculture, we talk about it like it's a conversation. So you're learning how to communicate with the landscape, essentially. You're observing. What you're observing is essentially the land talking to you. And then in turn, you can start to interact, which is essentially you talking back. And then you step back and you observe that little change that I made. How is that actually playing out? How is the land responding to that? And then again, it's this back and forth of reading the landscape. So that is, I would argue, the most important of the principles and the one that I think you really need to start there. Again, there are 12, but I'm just going to talk a little about the 4th, which is to use and value diversity. So yes, of course, this is the more obvious stuff like, having a diverse range of plants in your system, but this can also refer to a diversity of uses of the space. So again, if we're using this example of your new home and your land, your yard, thinking about how you and your family are going to be using that space. And so you want space where you're going to be, maybe growing food, but you're also going to have space where maybe your kids play, or maybe you're able to like sit out on some lawn chairs and enjoy the sun. Maybe you have space where you're going to have like a pollinator garden, amongst other things. And so having a diversity of use of the space. Also, you can think of it in terms of diversity in energy sources. If we're talking about like regenerative energy sources or alternative energy sources, right? Primarily in the US and especially in Massachusetts, if we're talking regenerative or alternative, we're talking solar, which has its benefits, but there's also drawbacks to solar, and it's not a perfect solution. So keeping in mind other forms of alternative energy as well. And so again, there's many examples of how we can apply that principle, but I think that's sufficient for now. I'm just trying to time. Where are we at? Oh, I'm doing okay. So, well, I'll put a pin in that just to see if anyone has questions at this point.
Okay, now you offer courses in this, is that correct?
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about the course, how long it is, the cost, that sort of thing?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a great question. So South Shore Permaculture is my organization. We offer a bunch of different courses, workshops. We have events for community building as well. We try to offer as much as we can for free. And if not that, then we offer like a sliding scale, scholarship options, things like that, work trade. We want this information to be as accessible to people as possible. And in terms of what the classes and workshops actually are, they really do vary. So our flagship program is our PDC, which is a permaculture design course or permaculture design certification. It is 72 hours in total. Ours actually goes to about 100, but theoretically it's supposed to be 72 hours. And the course itself, the material, the content is based on Permaculture 1, which is the first permaculture book written by Bill Mollison and David Holgram, who I mentioned before in Australia. And so that's the basis of the course. Our course is hybrid, so half of it is online for convenience. And then the other half is all in person, hands-on, applicable information that you can ideally go and use right in your own yard or your life. And we start in January and we end in June. So we actually just wrapped up our PDC for this year. Our graduation will be in July. The students right now are essentially working on their final design project. So at the end of the course, you take all of the information that you acquired and all of the experiences and everything, and you create a permaculture design for somebody's yard. And so that's your opportunity to start applying everything. You present it at the end to the homeowner and they get to give you feedback and all of that. And ideally, maybe they're going to use some of your ideas too, which is cool. And so that's the PDC. And we also have coming up, we have fundamentals of permaculture, which is basically an opportunity to kind of dip your toe. If you're like, oh, that sounds cool, but I don't know that I want to commit to a full 6-month course. It is at the end of July. It's just for a weekend. We'll be hosting it at Foul Play Farm, which is over in Duxbury. And again, that'll be an opportunity for you to kind of try some stuff on, ask questions, get to know the instructors, get to know some like-minded people, hopefully. We'll be providing lunches through H. Cole Catering, which is a little catering company. And yeah, and there'll be 4 sections essentially to that workshop that are all different aspects of permaculture. We also have another workshop coming up in the beginning of August, and that is going to be a natural building workshop. So we'll be creating a cob oven. Cob is a natural building technique that utilizes straw and earthen materials like sand and clay. And so, so that workshop will be hands-on as well, and you'll learn how to build a cob oven. And in theory, you could go and make one in your own backyard if you wanted. It does also incorporate a rocket stove, which is another big concept in permaculture. It's essentially like a very energy efficient heating system. So you can use it to heat a space. You can also use it to cook food, amongst other things. So the rocket stove will be within the cob oven structure. And so it'll be a cool opportunity to learn 2 really useful techniques.
So may I interrupt you? Who
Yeah,
would
absolutely.
use a cob?
What's
A
up?
cob oven, who would use it? Or would you use it for?
Oh, anyone could use it.
It's
Pizza.
outdoors.
Yeah, so it is often a pizza oven. It's that kind of concept, but I mean, you can cook anything in it, but that's kind of what it is.
And
you know,
it's fueled by
wood
wood.
generally. I mean, I'm sure you could use like pellets and things like that.
Mhm.
There's different ways to fuel it. But again, that's the beauty of incorporating the rocket stove into it, is that it ends up being very energy efficient. And because of the ability of the cob material to hold and retain heat, it will stay hot for quite a while. And so that's also beneficial depending on
So
the
you could bake
season.
some bread.
You could bake some bread. Yeah, you could really cook anything you wanted. And you can have cob within your home or outside. If you have it outside, you just want to have some kind of structure over it to protect it from the elements, especially here in New England. But yeah, you could have it in
Does
your home
anyone
too.
have them around here?
That's a good question. Not that I'm aware of, not on the South Shore, but there are people out in Western Mass that have it, I know, and kind of up into like Vermont and Maine as well. The person who is going to be leading this workshop, most of the work he's doing is up in like Maine, northern New Hampshire, and northern Vermont. So I don't know that he's come down here much, but yeah. We also do have a kids class or a kids workshop coming up in the beginning of July. So if you know anybody with kids who might be interested, I'm collaborating with a couple of other folks. Blake Dinius, who works for the Plymouth County Extension Office. He's a entomologist. I never know why my brain can never get that straight. He's a bug expert.
Right.
And then a woman named Hillary who runs a company called Virgo and Vine, and her whole focus is early childhood development. And so between the 2 of them and myself, we're going to be hosting a whole like bug day for kids. So something I would have been really into as a child, but you know, not for everybody. But
Do you have a website?
yeah, so I brought some business cards. I wasn't sure what you know what to expect today, so. So yeah, so on here, I mean, you're welcome to take one, obviously, if you want. You're also welcome to scan the QR code if you're not trying to hang on to business cards, whatever works for you. And that will take you to the bio site, which is essentially a whole collection of different links, one of which will be our website.
Okay.
So you can go right there. It'll also have like all of our
Thank
social
you.
media. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, thanks. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
So
you do community presentations?
yeah. Oh, no problem. Yeah. So I have a presentation that
Can I?
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Did you want, you got one really?
Um
I don't care.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll remember that.
yeah, so I do have a presentation I do titled Permaculture, How to Build Resilient Systems for People and Planet. A big part of what I love about permaculture is how it can help us to develop more resilient systems. That's a big part of the diversity factor, right? If we're relying solely on wind and if we don't have a windy day, or solar and we don't have sun for a while, that's a problem, right? So that's what all of the principles of permaculture address, is creating resilient systems that will hopefully stand the test of time and will help us as we navigate whatever is to come.
Okay, now foul play is following these guidelines, is that correct?
Yeah, so the gentleman who runs Foul Play Farm, Brett Sovic, he actually was one of our students for the first PDC that we hosted back in 2023. But he had a wealth of experience and knowledge prior to taking our course. And so he does a combination essentially of permaculture and regenerative agriculture. That said, I would argue that regenerative agriculture is kind of a circle within permaculture. Everything that is regenerative agriculture would constitute as permaculture, but permaculture again kind of goes beyond that, since it does address more than just agriculture and land maintenance.
Yeah, we've had him here to talk about his farm. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Brett's got lots of stories and lots of good information to share. And
Yeah.
and he's always looking for help too. We actually have some, we support each other a lot. And so I had just shared the other day that they're going to be working on installing some high tunnels over there. And so he's looking for any volunteers who might want to come over and help. And he's always happy to give a tour of the farm and share all of his knowledge. So if anyone's looking for something to do, they'll be there this Saturday, next Saturday, and then during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So that's all on, I share a lot of that stuff through Facebook, if anybody's on there.
Where's your offices located?
I don't actually have a brick and mortar location. It's my dining room table. But I'm often out and about, when I do end up doing quite a bit of work on the computer these days, just since I'm doing all the back end stuff. But ideally I would actually be out, in the grass, in the dirt, doing things hands-on, but no, I don't have a physical location at the moment. But I'm in Pembroke, so
Okay.
fairly local to here.
Questions? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's a lot to think about.
It is a lot, and that's one of the challenges whenever since I'll find myself sometimes like farmers markets and whatnot, and folks will come up and, oh, well, what is permaculture, and how do you summarize all that it is in just a few words? So there's a lot more to learn, and I'm always happy to chat. My email's on there, so feel free to reach out if you ever want to chat or have any questions.
And thank you for participating in our ag fair last year. We'll be doing it again this year on September 21st.
Oh,
So
good.
You'll be getting an invitation.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a lovely day.
Yeah, it was. It turned out to be very nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Wait, I hope you have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
We can get into the agenda now. Go ahead. All right, bye-bye.
Sorry, Joe.
Thank you.
All righty. Anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion for the minutes.
Second? All in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. Back to recruitment of new members. Well, we're beating a dead horse here.
I think it's across to all our boards, not just this one.
Well, please, everybody, keep it in mind, and if you think there's anybody that might be even remotely interested, especially younger people.
Yeah.
But they have to be actively involved in that.
They do.
Well,
do.
the associates don't, and that's the only position we have right now, is an associate, who is Beth's. So you don't have to be actively involved in agriculture to be an associate.
I spoke to the town clerk today about, I can't remember her daughter's name that was here.
I know, yes, Janice's daughter,
Yes,
yes.
so she said that she enjoyed the meetings and was very interested in it, but she plans on moving this fall. I think she
Okay.
said October, but she thought she might still be here for the fair.
Mhm.
So I dropped that.
Okay, thank you
Thanks,
for calling.
thanks, yeah.
Yeah, because she looked like it, and she was very interested.
Yeah, and she enjoyed the meeting and it just sounded great until she's leaving.
It's something he said.
Might have been you. Louis.
Well, you talked to a couple people too, John. Nothing worth telling. Okay. Well, I mean, we have a full voting board,
Right.
which is good.
Well, it would be nice, because honestly, I'd like to step down this chair next year. No, let's put it this way, I'm going to stay. So it would be nice to have as a
Okay,
younger
so
person.
Rui's done it, Christine's done it, you've done it.
General.
Yeah, something to think about, John.
Right. She could guide you.
There's not a lot to it.
There's not a lot to it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Just enough.
Yes, I know.
Um,
The website doesn't have, for the ag committee, doesn't have Beth.
As promoted yet?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll send an email.
Jessica, we know.
Hmm?
We know.
yes, we,
Yeah, I know, but I was just thinking, I keep
Right.
it out there in my barn book mailing.
Okay. John, I'll send an email to Jana.
thank you.
To correct that.
Um,
There's something about their updating the website
Hmm.
again. And
Mhm.
I've been losing links and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. The long process for them, but.
Does that and everything gets screwed up.
Yeah, I know.
Seems like they do it every couple of years.
So John, I'm taking the minutes since Christine.
Okay, thank you. All right, produce sharing program. Well, we're off and running. Jean's got the signage. There's put a shelf in there the other day, a nice wire mesh shelf, so,
I need to put something on Facebook. I haven't done that yet.
okay. Well, it's still a little bit early for New England, other than lettuce and peas.
My
Yeah.
kale looks good.
Does it?
It does.
Yeah. And radishes and.
Yeah,
Mm.
radishes, yeah.
So,
I mean-
so I can put that in the barn book. If that's open now,
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
an
Yeah,
associate, yes.
it's there, it's available.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. I just got an ad from a farmer's market, an Amish farmer's market I go to in Pennsylvania. They've got corn from Maryland.
Mm,
Oh, no.
Do you want to drive 8 hours, John?
Yay.
you
And
are-
they've got New Jersey blueberries too.
Well, it's, I think the best corn I ever had was, up here where my wife is from. They grew, white shoe peg corn one year.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
And
I
I bought-
love that.
Did you?
I love it. I love it.
Really?
Deb loves it, so I'm not
Mhm.
alone.
Okay.
Hmm.
It's okay.
It was fresh. I mean, it was,
Yeah,
the early stuff around here isn't always, it's, it can be as much as a week old.
yeah, yeah. You've got to have it right off the stalk.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. My mother would pull it, put it in ice water and then cook it. And it was, yeah, couldn't get much fresher.
You could. Alrighty, well, hopefully we'll have some people start to,
Yeah, even if the Council on Aging puts some stuff over there.
Yeah, they were interested last year to find out about it, so.
Yeah, why, I talked to, who's the new,
Holly.
Holly,
Holly,
Holly.
okay.
I talked to Holly because of course she's involved in the organic collection
Mhm.
now. I have a bin over there for them.
Yep.
And I told her about produce sharing and they get vegetables in every Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her if they have anything left at the end of the day that's usable.
It's a
to
great
put it
idea.
over,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
rather than throw it away.
Yes.
It's Holly got the director's position now
Yeah.
Yes,
permanently?
Yes.
yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
Oh,
good,
good.
Yeah.
good. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been wonderful there. So.
Good.
Yep.
Rudy, you want to talk about roosters?
I have some,
You do?
yeah, they came with a.
Mm.
So you get the manure. You gotta have the roost separate. How are you gonna separate the manure, Rudy?
Put them in a special place.
Yeah. Are they destined for a pot on the stove?
They're destined to go to some Brazilian friends that I have.
Mm.
Who will picking them up.
Yeah.
And what they do with them.
Mhm.
And
Eating them, I'm sure.
Mhm. They love Sunday dinner. How many do you have?
roosters,
Mm.
I don't know, I keep asking them, but
They're not telling you yet?
I would say, I ordered 125 hens and I'd say I probably have 4.
Oh, that's not bad. That's That's a great percent. All right.
It's funny, you
Percent
want
chicken.
some hen breeds. You seldom get roosters when they sex them, like the golden reds that I get from Pennsylvania, never have a problem with them. But they're too friendly a hen, so when you're slightly older than 75, you're constantly in the pen, and they're.
Crouching down, yeah.
Like a head of they don't appreciate being drop kicked out of the way. And that stresses them, you know. But anyway.
Keep in mind, this is being recorded, Rudy.
Apologize.
If you get Bard Rocks, or if you get Rhode Island Reds, my daughter
Mm.
wanted Rhode Island Reds, so I got them. So far, every year you always get 1%, 2%
Mhm.
roosters.
Yeah.
Just difficulty in sexing them as the hatchery.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, you had asked me to put this on here. Remember you sent me an email?
No.
It
Did I send you an email out?
said, it said, you had been getting inquiries from,
Oh,
town officials.
Yes,
on
I had
roosters.
a visit by the town official,
Joyce.
health house,
Mhm.
and said that she really just wanted to touch base with me on what's it true that you do not need roosters in order to have
Eggs? No.
eggs from hens, and I said, no.
Do you have chicken?
Correct.
Yeah, it's not for a long time.
Only if
Not
you
this year,
want
but yeah.
We,
You want
Check.
fertilizer.
It is the
Yeah.
question of the agreements.
he indicated that she's getting a lot of calls, and I don't know why the health board is getting the calls and
Well,
not the
because-
animal.
Because
Because that's where people should
That's
go.
where the keeping of
Regulations.
the regulations are.
The health,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the Board of Health.
Whenever we wrote them in,
yeah.
they adopted them.
Yeah, that's
So
why.
good, so that
Yeah.
you could actually be chair because you probably wouldn't remember, so.
Having meetings. So anyway, I had a nice conversation with her, but I told her, you know, if she had any questions, stop in, talk to me, but you don't need roosters and they're royal pain.
Mhm.
Will, those gentlemen that are picking up yours, will they pick up a single or does it have to be multiple?
But I would think that if somebody brought them to me, then they would take them when they come to get mine. But
Yeah.
then the danger with that is you're bringing another
Yeah,
another fowl.
no,
And
Yeah.
so I don't know.
you don't know, okay.
I'll ask them, but I guess you have a number of people with roosters.
Not at the moment,
But in case,
yeah,
but in,
there are problems.
Mm.
brewing.
They'll start about 16 weeks, they'll start voicing
Mhm.
themselves.
Yeah.
Proclaiming their maleness.
They're already starting to fight.
Mhm.
They're 12 weeks old now, so they're starting to fight each other for
Mhm.
dominance.
You guys and your testosterone.
That's it.
I know.
Oh, when they go after the kids was the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and
See, I could have left it off and I would have never remembered.
the day-to-day business. Being an ape father, that's it. Everything else. everything else is ugly.
All right, agricultural programs for next year, or for this year. We have some ideas and, you know, we have a couple things pending. It's just a matter of when we're gonna do them. And I'm
What's
thinking, a chicken talk, a talk on early winter seeding that,
Mm,
that thing that I went to, which I thought was really, really neat.
mm.
We just did the beginning gardeners.
Yeah. So I'm thinking probably for the seeding, maybe January, and I'll talk to Kathy about that.
Who was looking at bees? Was it
I
you,
talked to a
Bob?
couple of people and I guess they just kept, no, I'm not doing
Okay,
that.
okay. And Cape Cod cranberry?
I haven't done anything.
Okay.
I haven't talked to them.
Either that or maybe if you see the guys from next door.
Bring them
That's
down
what
the
I'll
ag
do.
fair,
Okay,
maybe.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, that'd be great. See if,
They're new in town.
I just need contact info, so I can send them an email invite.
What are they gonna do over there? Or what are they doing? over there?
Well, they
They
got
got-
cranberry bogs.
They got bogs and they're into bees. So they got 50 hives over there now that they take care of,
Wow.
they did pollinator habitats.
Wow,
yeah, that's pretty neat.
yeah.
I want 200 hives.
I'm gonna go
Wow.
200. Oh, good.
200 hives?
That's what I want.
Wow.
Got full-time beekeepers there every day.
Yes.
Really?
They're
Yeah.
flying out.
They have a full set.
But I'd like to meet those guys. Because my success with bees has been really, really
Don't
limited.
feel bad, most people's success is really, really
I
bad.
know.
I think it's an interesting subject. I think people would come out for that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. Try this.
All right, well,
And I was wondering, the gal that spoke tonight, she didn't touch on. That was a lot of hours for the course. I mean,
Mhm.
and I should have asked her, but I didn't think how. She said she does presentations for groups. I wonder how long that is.
I want to talk to her a little bit more, because I want to find out who is coming to her programs, you know, to see if it would be of general interest or if it's a specific group that would be interested. So I need to talk with her a little bit more.
it sounds like she could tailor something, you know, to what our needs are, or what our kind of wants are. Based on what she said tonight. Think you could run that by her, Gene,
Sure.
primarily?
I mean, based on the people that came to the gardening, to both of them, that was a good showing. I think there's
Yeah.
interest in it.
Yeah, well, I think that part of our focus now needs to be backyard gardeners,
Mm.
just to encourage it. You know, I think if she's got anything that would help backyard garden,
She mentioned that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, her presentation was very thorough, and she promised to send us her slides. I've sent her emails twice reminding her. I still don't have the slides, because I have a list of people who wanted to see the slides. I personally would want to see them because, you know, do I remember everything she talked about? No.
There was a lot of interesting stuff there too, things that
Yeah.
answered questions that I didn't know the answer to before, which was nice, you know, I just kind of thought one way, and I was like, oh, that was really what happened.
Yeah.
It would be great if she could do a presentation that gave like the backyard gardeners, just a quick
Yeah.
map of
Just-
what it would look like,
Yeah.
like simple, what works well with tomatoes, what,
Yeah.
how do you do
Yeah.
the cucumbers?
Are you
Just,
talking about the woman who did the vegetable 101 or?
I was thinking her,
Oh, her?
kind of like her
Okay.
mapping out of,
Okay.
I think that's the hardest thing for people is how do you start the garden if you've never had any experience with gardening before?
Well, I think we could probably do two programs. One with
Yeah.
the woman who already
Did the
did the
vegetables, yeah,
vegetable thing.
and then like a design and setup of how to do
Yeah.
it.
And
Mm,
even a more holistic approach
Right.
maybe than.
Right,
Right.
set up a rain barrel, something
Are
easy
you
for,
looking up?
No, like crap.
Not enough water.
I know,
But this one is still middle, room temperature, though, how I like it.
me too. It's funny because
I like it too
the
cold.
cranberry juice doesn't go in the refrigerator.
No,
And I
You know,
drink it quick.
John,
after
you're
the-
talking about drinking water. I have a friend, former colleague, whose wife had a ruptured Achilles tendon,
From,
not drinking enough water.
yeah, I know,
Believe it.
Yeah,
I know, it's.
Not drinking enough water, that was the
Really.
And she was on the verge of having a
pickles,
second.
me some pickles.
It says that, I've never tried that. Yeah.
great,
Now.
It's a great hydrator,
practically
yeah.
Guzzling water and trying to prevent heat.
Yeah.
She had a rough.
that defeats the purpose.
I never heard it.
No, I hadn't. No.
Thank you, John.
Enjoy.
They just have to put it in.
I thought, this project for next year, but, I'll be going to Barnstable and I go to, Marshfield for the kids.
Mhm.
And I think Marshfield has a bee barn, and I'll see if I can get on somebody from there.
I think
I mean,
that's
they're already
Ken
doing-
Pearl that does that.
Is it?
I think it's Ken Pearl.
I think they've,
but-
they've answered me. I tried to get in touch with them on Facebook and
What's
it's like,
his face? Ashley Camo.
They'll, they'll respond.
I could talk to her. And she was kind of instrumental in getting him to do that, so.
should have known when they picked up the bees, but I didn't think of it.
Yeah, bees,
Yeah, I think
everybody's
that'd be
interested in
interesting.
bees, yeah. Agricultural fair,
Okay.
so we have the new banner. I think everybody's seen it, but we can show it on the TV if we want. Well, Beth hasn't seen it.
What about the signs? You dig those out?
Yes, we did. Yep, we did. Rui and I counted, what do we have? 18 Rui, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you count that I had two at my house, little ones?
Nope, nope. So now we have 20. Yeah,
Let's change the date.
But what about that? Yeah.
Yeah,
have to change the
we
date.
just have to get the,
That's what we did last time, put a little
just
circle on the date.
little stickers, yeah,
Mhm.
You get those at Sign Room.
yes. And I've got to go back, so,
Okay, did you want to?
or do you want
Do
me to just pay the? pay the
No,
tax
no.
for now?
I think when they send it, they'll send the tax exempt.
Okay, so the town will take.
But
that.
first we need
Yeah,
I think you
Okay.
just have to ask Sinorama to access
Okay,
the number. I know they have it.
okay,
Yeah. So you need
Myself
to
call.
ask for a vote on this.
all right, one thing at a time, I can't write.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody want to make a motion to vote on paying the bill for the new banner?
The $150.
Yes,
I make a motion, we pay bill for the new band.
I'll second that.
all in favor? Aye. Great, so
Sign
That's all.
right here.
they actually did a nice job. I mean, I'll show you,
That's
you know,
That's big.
it's,
That's bigger
yeah.
than I did picture.
Good size, should catch people's attention. I'll tell you, a lot of the little signs people put up, you can't read them.
I know.
Now, this one you can
Cast them
see
before you can read.
halfway down the street.
Yeah.
And it's bright, so.
When are we gonna put it up? The last
Well-
time we only did it a couple of days.
Well, that's because the other one is kind of specific. I think it says
Oh,
ag
yeah.
bid today.
That's right.
But this one, you know, and I don't know whether we need to get anybody's blessing, if we put it over on the other side of the driveway, at least facing
Gotta have
for
three.
people going up the hill.
Mhm.
Um,
You're coming to the selectmen's meeting Tuesday?
yes, I am. How deeply is it buried? What can I ask at the meeting or?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I don't remember where it is in the.
Is the agenda out?
It is.
I'm sure she
I
told
just
me.
looked at
Three
it
is
today,
enough?
but I wasn't
Three?
thinking that.
Just three.
Yeah.
We just need three.
I can pull it up.
Gotcha.
No, pay it.
Is it something that could be moved or is like once it's installed, it's in there? Oh, you have smaller signs though too, right?
Yes, yeah.
Cause we could put them down at Grays.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have the kids down there. Or at the beach already. So. And then Opachinski would be a good spot for it. For all the families coming in for the sports.
Mhm. Do we have a date on the signs,
Yes.
the small ones?
No, I have to, and I didn't even think of that at Sinorama.
Okay, so we need to do that, so we have them to get in.
Yeah. And those are-
How soon you putting them on?
we won't put them up till August.
August,
So it's
Yeah.
a little premature now.
Yeah, it is.
Just get rolling. Forgot
They
about-
get stolen.
It gets forgotten. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
like 10 days is optimum, 2 weeks.
yeah,
Yeah.
2 weeks. probably.
All right, well, maybe then early September.
September,
we'll do
right
it.
after Labor Day.
Yeah,
Since it's the 21st.
yeah.
You're number 5 on the appointments.
Thank you.
Okay.
Does-
You
did
shouldn't get
it-
any
did it get a
pushback.
time?
What do you
It
think?
doesn't, but no, I don't think
No,
there's gonna
I
be
think
anything
it's just
back.
Rubber stamp. it just-
Yeah, there's the fire department has a promotion, that takes a little bit of time. There'll be
Okay.
a little bit before you.
But speaking,
I'm not good at guesstimating.
No, that's okay. I
I-
just,
Sometimes I think it's gonna be fast and it isn't, and then, yeah.
speaking of the fire department, what was going on? They were by my house, 4 crews.
Today's adventures were the girls softball team made it to the final 4. And so they did an escort of police and fire to the highway to get them to their game.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Opened
Oh,
up like a medical
wow, that's
thing
great.
Oh,
at 1:45.
oh, I didn't,
About
I would thought you were talking
1:45.
about the big,
Some kid was in distress, whatever that means.
I didn't see that one.
There's 2 cruisers, an ambulance, a fire truck, because I was going south on 27. They were all
Yesterday was the guy down the main.
guy in the
hall.
well.
I fell into
At the
Man.
mall, there's a pit,
Really?
9-foot deep pit. They suck a pump out and it pumps up to another leaching basin. And the guy broke into the building and fell into the pit for 4 days.
You see, 4
days
days?
in the pit.
No. So he wasn't he wasn't one of the crew.
No, he was
Oh,
a homeless man.
Oh, good
Oh,
God.
brother.
this on your property, John?
Oh, no, small. So if you go behind Marion Drive, takes a hard 90.
Yeah.
Behind the detail shop, there's a pump there that pumps one retention pond out and
Ah.
up to the other one that actually works.
And someone just happened to hear him.
Yeah, one of the mall guys.
Yeah.
They store the lawn and the gas cans in there. They
Holy
went down there and they heard.
Wow.
There's no lights in the building, so it's like a dark little dingy building.
Good grief.
Wow.
They've been busy.
Yeah,
I don't know what today's distress call was, but the big entourage that probably went by your house. was-
Yeah, it had to be because it was 4 police cars, fire truck, big white.
Yeah, and then a bus.
Nice bus.
Yeah,
Another
Yeah.
police car, another fire.
yes, that was the entourage.
should have been coming for some roosterman.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Could
Could have been.
have put a sign out right then.
7 seconds, wife made me get rid of all my rifles. I'd have been in there walking and loading.
She's a wise woman.
Yeah.
Old fashioned.
Okay, so for Ag Fair, so we've got the banner, we've got the signs,
Like,
I'm not sure when I'm gonna send the invites out, John. I don't know if I'll get them done before I go on vacation. If not, it's gonna, I have to wait till later in July after my surgery, so.
Are you able to send a preliminary blast? Just, do you have a, it says we're plan, you know, we're planning on it, the date,
Yeah,
well, more to follow.
yeah, I can do that, yeah.
That way at least people can, you know, especially with the date, and I'm gonna assume that we're, of course, I get into trouble when I assume, but
Mm.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think
gonna
it,
assume.
Well,
unless
you'll
there's
know
something I
Tuesday.
don't know.
You'll know Tuesday night.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, so if we can, you know, if we can at least let people know it's going to happen, so that they can save the date or.
Yeah. And if you could send, if you do that,
Mhm.
if you could send me one, so if I think of anyone, I was thinking, because I was up there a couple of weeks ago and bought a lot of flowers, blue stem natives.
Mhm.
I wonder if they would have a table,
Excuse me.
because they have, you know, all the plants that attract butterflies and pollinators and
Mhm.
bees, and I thought, well, if they could, they're really kind of hard to find, and they,
Were they
have you been there? They're way up
Oh, yeah.
past Queen
Blue
Anne's.
stem.
Blue
native.
stem
Oh, yeah,
natives, they did a presentation, so I went to buy plants. And it's, I don't even know if they have a building, it's like,
Yeah, they do.
they do have a building
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
It's just, it's way out back, you have to
Oh, wow.
drive to, it's not like you see it and pull in. There's little signs. and I
Yeah.
was
I
thinking,
know where it is. It's,
yeah, it's behind
going,
San Pietro, I think, the restaurant.
okay, going north on 53.
yes,
It's,
it's on the left,
it's, yeah, it's.
it's after that set of
yeah,
lights,
yeah.
Okay.
where Assinippy, it's
I have
north
not
of that.
invited them before, but I'll be happy to send them, because I've been up there a few times.
Are you thinking about doing a flyer to just blast it out, like just to say the date or like out to the town, just to say,
That's a little more involved.
Yeah.
I was just gonna send a quick email to all
okay,
our past vendors.
do you want me to do a flyer for you and put it out on rec with it, just the date?
That
After
would be
Tuesday's
great.
meeting?
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Okay,
I have 2 weeks left and they are filling up.
okay, I'll do the flyer. Do you want me to send it to you just to check the boxes off and say it looks good?
Sure.
Okay. And then I'll leave space, I can do it on Canva, so I'll leave space and add. As you have updates of who's gonna be at the fair, I can just add them into the flyer and then send that back out the next time, so the flyer will look the same, it'll just pull it back out with different
Okay.
info.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yes, if we
Yeah.
can,
Very much.
that's it.
We had a flyer that saved the date.
Yeah.
Now what it was. You could post one in my egg room, written on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Laminate it and just put it there.
Yep.
So that some people, you might catch, some people would say, oh, they're gonna have that again.
Yeah.
And we have the summer program at the Reed, so
Yeah.
we'll post it in there at the board.
Yeah.
Library.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right down here.
the recognition is a good job.
Yeah, she
So-
does, it goes out to like 3,500 people, so.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Good one,
because
alright.
Missy, we've never been able to get the rec.
To send it out,
Yeah, invited them,
to set up a table or to send
Yeah.
it out?
yeah, the setup, no, they'll send it out, but to have a table. I
It's
don't-
probably,
September. Sometime, well, what would you want at the table?
it's a.
What do you
Oh, Just
think?
information on the
Just
programs that they
informational
have
program
available.
table?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's really, the library does that, Conscom.
We have a new part-time person that works weekends, so that might be,
That might work.
that might work this year.
Okay,
In the past, we haven't had that. And
Okay.
the kids, usually the counselors, we can have them do that, but they're all back at school.
sure.
So I
No,
can ask
mean,
at the
it's an
next meeting.
opportunity Just to get information out to the community, and we do seem to get a lot of younger families
Yeah.
coming to the fair, so
Yeah, yeah.
that would be,
Okay,
any upcoming programs, flyers, things.
KYSO stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I can do that.
I called Bristol County Ag and Norfolk County Ag to ask about volunteers for the fair. And Bristol County, they're in school for another week. She said if I got her the information on what you're looking for tomorrow, they have a website where and the gal that runs it said she'd do the artwork, which is nice, because I don't know how to do that. But she said if I just got her the information, she would post it on there. They have like a work volunteer site
Mhm.
specific for that school. And it runs for 30 days and then you have to do it again. But it goes right to this gal that I talked to and she said, I can make it look nice for you.
Oh, nice.
So if you wanted, I can send her I just don't know what exactly you're looking for volunteers from students.
Mhm.
She said it would be good to send it tomorrow because they'll be in school for another week before they leave for the
Mm.
summer.
Okay, yeah, and this year they're gonna have to sign a release. I have to have my swap shop volunteers sign a release, and a Cory.
Oh.
Really?
Do you,
It's a lot.
do you think they're gonna have to Cory kids?
No, I,
Not under
since
18.
it's just a
Okay.
one day, it'll just be a release form.
Are you interested? Do you want me to do that? If so,
Yeah.
what do you want me to say?
Yeah, because there's a lot of kids from Kingston and Plymouth that go over there.
What do we need to say?
You're looking for volunteers, and there is a space where you can, put, unpaid, so it's volunteers.
Yeah.
They help at the ag fair, before, during, and after?
Yeah.
Help to set up and then to clean up.
Community service
Yeah.
hours for graduation are always a catch for them.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what
We
she
need
said
those.
she would, yeah.
yeah,
So set up, clean up,
and, whatever needs to be done during the fair.
Just general help.
Yeah, just general help.
okay.
It's nothing. Missy, do we have an outdoor faucet?
There's one down there, that's
I think
what
so.
we used last time.
Back of the building. you see the-
Yeah, we used it
Yeah.
last time.
We
Because
did,
we-
Yeah.
okay, because we
We
want
had
to
a
be
hose set
sure
up, yeah.
everybody that has animals knows where the faucet is.
Yep.
Yeah, I
so-
did.
So that they can get water.
We didn't
Does
have
it have a
nobody had
key?
trouble Last year that I know.
Does it
No.
need a key? It
No.
just is a
Yeah.
turn on?
'Cause I know
Okay.
somebody asked me and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
No, it's right,
It's gotta be one.
Well, if you're walking out the door to the right.
Yeah,
It's
Okay.
right there and anybody
it's right
can
near
use
the
it, cause
bowl.
I
Yeah, okay.
directed people over there
People
last
can't
year.
miss it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
just didn't know if it had one of those like keys. You
No.
need to open it, so
It
that's
didn't
great.
last year.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so you want me to do that
Okay.
with Bristol County?
Sure.
And then Norfolk County said it was too late this year.
Mm,
But if I was to call her back the beginning of September, that they would run
Do
it.
they have, ag students from Kingston?
Well, one of the gal that I had at the shelter that did an internship there was from Norfolk
Oh,
County.
okay,
That's why I called them. They
Okay.
used to have a bus at like Big Y. I don't know if they
Okay.
do anymore.
okay,
But she said, it would be better to do it the 1st of September, because I think,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they start the last week in August.
yeah.
So I guess we can see what happens and I'll keep this information.
Yeah, because we usually have to
People-
follow up with the high school in September, once the kids come back.
How many volunteers do you think we should aim for?
Yeah,
I don't think we can have too many, actually, because.
I don't
we got-
necessarily.
They credit if they show up.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do the walking I've done the
Yeah.
last couple of years.
So what do you think? If we could have 6, probably?
At
Oh,
least.
I have one more. Mark Manella on Grove Street, who's one of my barn book folks, when I sent out that last one. He wrote back to me that he will definitely help.
Oh, good. Okay,
Good.
is this an adult?
Yes,
Okay,
he's a chef
okay.
and he has donkeys and maybe a horse. Anyway, he's got livestock.
Okay, all right. Does he want to bring a donkey?
I don't know. I'll give him a call.
Yeah, I mean, we've never had a donkey.
Donkeys are so cute.
Yeah.
Unless they bite. No, no.
Yeah, he's in the back. You can't see him.
Okay, all right. My last name is
Yeah,
I didn't- I
It's
never
Mark,
went on it.
M-A-R-C, Manella, M-I-N-E-L-L-A. And, I wrote him back and told him, what we needed for help and to
Mhm.
consider himself signed up.
Do we have a time for it yet?
For the fair?
Yeah.
1 to 4.
Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't, I
no,
had it.
12 to 4, John.
12 to 4.
Right? Or is it 1 to 4?
Oh,
The pay is 1 to 4, but we're
1 to
12 to 4.
Yeah, we said.
We're all 12 to 4, but
Yeah, I like
but the
everybody-
flyer will say
Yeah.
1 to 4.
When
wonderful,
people,
yeah.
people start to show up,
Mhm.
They set the job at 12:30.
where, or even earlier,
Yeah,
but, I mean,
Yeah.
we try to get the vendors here at noon time, so they'd have time to set up without,
Right. And that's when it gets really frantic, and that's when I could really use some volunteers. Is to help people find their slot, you know, where they need to go, because I know, Lydia's helped me in the past with that. But it gets pretty hectic, because they're coming in one after another.
mhm.
right,
I just know I'm not gonna be able to.
okay, well. The other thing we need to do beforehand, and we're a little bit, is just. Have some of us review the spaces, so we know where people are gonna go, because that got a little bit confusing last year.
It was
Yeah.
all marked,
I know, but it's still got a little confusing.
yeah.
So if we could maybe just talk about it a little bit before, so.
Mhm. Yeah, no, every space was numbered.
Yeah.
And that's where volunteers could really be helpful
Yes.
to get people to the right spot, you know. And is your band guy gonna come back?
Yes,
Okay, great. So I'm gonna,
I've already told them.
I'm not gonna put tables as close to the band this year, because people had difficulty talking to the public about, you know, whatever was on their table. So we'll move people a little bit further away from the band, because I thought the band added a lot to the event.
Singles, but yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
we can get members of the band to come this time.
yeah, it'd be good, be good. Do we wanna have pumpkins? I'm sorry, guys. Do we wanna have pumpkins in our straw bales again?
I thought the strawberries were awesome.
Straw bales really
They're
help.
like you
Yes,
said,
a lot.
we got plenty of straw bales. I saved them.
Oh, good. That's what I'm gonna put.
I
They
just put
can,
it back in the
thing,
shelter and use it
Yeah.
again next year. There's not like,
because the kids can help truck those around. Do we
Yeah,
need a,
Yeah.
no, a golf cart would be good. You need a golf cart, Jean.
It don't have.
You can drive around.
Yeah.
We do have,
Who does?
the rec has one.
Really?
Christine has one
It would have to
Yes.
be moved here.
Yeah,
with Tim Hill all over it.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
it'd be really
She'll
helpful.
bring it.
It doesn't,
good advertising.
it's like not super heavy duty, like you can't put a lot of weight in it, but you can.
Are you
certainly-
saying might be too heavy?
No, I meant the hay bale. I was thinking like,
That's the
you
same
can't like,
thing. I think
it's
she
not a
would just go around.
Kubota or whatever you call that. It's just a little golf cart with like a back. It's the one at the beach.
I have a couple.
The kids use it at the beach.
I think that would be helpful to you, don't you?
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, let me ask.
Yeah, that
All right,
would
I
be
need that pen again.
cool. Yeah, it's good help with the straw bales, pumpkins, because
Are we gonna do pumpkins? That's the question.
well, I saw a lot of families doing pictures
Pictures with
with the
them.
kids on the
Ah.
bale with the pumpkins
Yep.
there, you know, it was a nice little,
Okay,
Factor.
yeah, it was, and it kind of adds to the atmosphere, you know.
wonder where we can get pumpkins.
Oh, I got them pretty cheap at Walmart last year. They were $4 or $5 versus 13 at Sunshine.
Yeah.
Do you wanna try to invite, Scott Chuck?
Sure, yeah,
I don't know whether he'll conflict with Cretnons,
No.
but that's the first year Cretnons shown up and they've been invited all along. So
Yeah.
whether they're gonna still
are
come.
they in full swing this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they?
They are.
Okay,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
I
The
had
name?
heard that they might.
Scott Chuck Farm.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Jim Plimpton.
Right past the.
They do a bunch of
The
kids.
library, the
can-
police department.
Maze, the corn maze.
Yeah.
Corn
Oh,
maze, they got a
it's not the one that I
merry-go-round.
talked
Yeah, they
to.
go
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Big
yeah.
corn pit. It's a lot of fun. Barrel rolls, shoot apples out of a
I'll check. it.
potato gun. A
Well,
lot of fun.
this year, the recycling committee is sponsoring a pumpkin smash
Oh,
at the recycle center.
That's a good
Black
idea.
Earth is gonna bring a truck that has a basketball hoop. And the kids can
Oh,
wing their pumpkins into the pool. Just another little thing.
That's a good idea.
that's,
It is.
That way we can get all the pumpkins there and Black Earth will take them. They're done.
With that Excel
My
spreadsheet,
I know. I was gonna say,
so
they always grow new pumpkins.
I see, I don't, when I printed it out,
Mhm.
the email addresses all come out in pink instead of blue, which is what I'm looking at. When I'm looking at it on the computer, see, and then I can't read any of them. Is there a way for me to change that?
Yeah, just change, just.
So I have to open it in Excel.
Yeah, open it in Excel.
Yeah.
And then just that column.
Yeah.
And then you should be able to change the color of the font.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know why
it
my
came out that way.
computer is reading it that way.
Yeah.
Because when I
because
look at it, it's blue.
black in mine.
It's black in yours?
Yeah,
I only have that.
maybe it's blue, maybe it's blue.
Kona Ice South Shore was the only one that was
Okay.
black, and that one I can read.
Yeah, it's black. Yeah, the other ones, once you put in an email address, it does make
Oh,
it
that's
blue.
right.
Yeah, so you just need to change the font for
Oh,
that column.
oh.
Should come out.
All right.
So.
You got
Deb-
this.
Deb asked me to divide it up by the type, so we've got a category for all the animals,
You click up
one
here,
for all the food.
And just highlight it.
It'll highlight
And
everything
then
for you,
general.
and then you just go
Okay.
text, color,
Okay, so
Okay.
we've got,
format. the text.
I can't tell
Okay.
you, probably 60 people on this list. And now I'll add a couple more. I'll add Sawchucks and, I'll put the rec commission back in, because I think they had said no so often I took them.
Yeah, I'll ask. We have a meeting coming up.
Yeah, I
So
don't
I'll
think I have them on here.
And
Yeah.
Blue Stem?
And Blue Stem, I'm gonna add them.
Okay.
Yeah.
all these people show up. Look at it.
That's fine, we've got room.
Yeah,
We've got room.
Plenty of room.
So the one thing we haven't decided is where are we gonna put, the catwalk?
Oh, yeah.
Why not the same place? as last
We didn't have it last year.
Right.
It can't be anywhere near
It
the.
can't be
that
near
area
the-
memorial.
It can't be near the memorial.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Well, the other
That's the
place,
thing. Yeah, we're allowed.
Yeah. John, where you had your boat last year,
Yeah, I'm not gonna bring a boat this year.
okay, so maybe we could do the catwalk there?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think if people see it from the road, they'll drive.
so we can't put it
But
in.
on the other side of the driveway? Up near the road?
Out near the front,
Push
and
the
then,
driver.
and then move everybody else down?
Yeah,
If you could see it driving by, I think
Okay.
it pulls people in.
yeah, because where Christina and I were, we just
Okay.
all split down.
Okay. All right,
Because it's a live animal
Yeah.
too, that.
yeah,
Yeah, and that makes them look, and then they'll see everything else, and otherwise it look, oh, is that a Yadsville? Oh, I'm just kidding.
I'd attract more people.
There might.
They sell that cow.
well, the thing is, they don't bring the cattle out until they're ready to have them flop, so it's not like they're there the whole time. Remember?
You know,
Oh,
we
the
get a little
truck.
bit, we get a little bit closer, we can figure that out, but I
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
it-
The
I don't
reason I
think it
was
really
thinking
matters.
back here is because they keep them in the trailers,
Yeah, there's some shade back there too.
yeah, until they're ready to bring them out. So we're gonna have to get people off that driveway for them to bring them out. So that's why I was thinking if the closer they were to the parking lot. the
Okay,
trailers,
that's,
but-
yeah.
But, we can make it work either way. I just wanted to kind of get that, what you thought would be the right spot to put them this year. Because that, on this side is where we get Cretons.
Yes,
Mhm.
So if Cretons come and Sawchucks come, we obviously need to have them. in different-
well, do we wanna then not invite Sawchuck? It'd be nice to know if Cretin was gonna come.
But you need to know if they're
A
coming,
Yeah.
number of years we invited them and they said, yeah, we'll come, and then they didn't.
Yeah,
right?
And it was nice to have corn and tomatoes and some,
and I
there's a lot,
purposely back by the parking lot so people could buy on the way home.
and they saw him on the way
Yeah,
in too.
right, so they knew that they were there, and then they wouldn't have to carry stuff around, they could
Right.
pick it up on the way out. So,
Um, So that's kind of tricky. Yeah, we
It
don't really
is.
need,
Two
we
of
don't
them,
really need competing ones, but
Yeah,
it'd be nice, definitely nice to know.
yeah, yeah.
Rui, could you talk to, Brett Nance to see if you can get a commitment, please?
Okay.
And I'll see if Elaine has her dairy up and running, they're making cheese over in Duckburg, that's very good.
Beverly was the one I spoke to. Beverly.
Beverly.
No, they come anywhere, probably.
Yeah,
The Elaine.
Alpacas come
she's
from-
doing,
Swansea.
what's his name's farm over there?
O'Neill.
O'Neill Farm.
Who is?
My friend Elaine, she's
Okay.
gonna be making the cheese stuff over there, her and someone else. They're fixing it all up, they're setting the whole dairy up and everything.
Okay.
So I asked her about it, but she was not really getting started yet, and she was going on vacation, so I'm coming to bug her a little bit about it because.
Okay.
Where'd you go on vacation? Take a day off.
And
There.
it's a little difficult, but.
Yeah, it's,
Those cows can't wait for a day. Okay, anything else you guys want to know about, for the fair right now? Obviously, we'll have a lot more to talk about as we get closer.
Well, we still haven't, you're still looking for somebody to shadow you, right? Do you want me to put, I have not put that, I put, we were looking for volunteers in the barn book. Do you want me to be more specific?
Well, if you have any interest, you could say that we need somebody
To take over organization.
yeah, someone with organizational skills,
Oh.
computer skills.
Oh. And
Somebody like a librarian.
yeah,
I was kind of thinking that.
Yeah, we really hope.
get the help lot organized, she's good at.
Yeah.
To what did you say, to do what? Computer and organizational skills to,
That's it.
Yeah, but
Fair,
that's it.
basically. To send out the invites and then
Yeah.
get everything organized for the day of the fair and make sure everything's cleaned up.
for this year and next.
Yeah, to oversee the fair, yeah.
To assist.
Okay.
We don't want to scare someone.
Take over.
Take it all on, don't write that.
Yeah.
Just to assist.
That's it, okay.
And once committed, you're here for life.
That's right. 3-year commitment. Can't resign.
All right, this will be the next.
That's a terrible advertisement, we have to do better.
Hey, well, thanks, Gene. Deb,
So I sent out the last barn book email to everyone. I had that response from Mark Manella. I sent out the May edition of CMAP. I invited everybody to the meeting.
Did you get the one for, that just came out?
I did see that. That'll be in my next edition. I decided to call it I haven't yet, the Barn Book Buzz. I thought it needed a
That's
name.
cute.
Yeah.
yeah,
I also mentioned the fact that the chicken coop on May Avenue, which is where I live, burnt down. And it was a pretty big fire. It could have been devastating to the neighborhood. It took their garage, it took their coop, it melted a car.
holy smokes,
Yeah,
how did it start?
it started from a heater in the chicken coop.
The heater, one of the heating lamps.
Why do you have a heater?
Baby
Baby chicks, yeah.
Did the heater fall or was it?
I don't know, I haven't spoken to them, but what transpired as a result of that, because the chief for his assistant spoke to zoning about it. And so zoning contacted me and wanted to talk about the regs that are already on the books for R20 and chicken coops. And so he wanted a history and some background. And I said, I can't possibly do it in an email. So we had a meeting with, David, the Board of Health gal, Joyce, Animal Control, and myself. And, I am really optimistic about it. He has suggested and is working on a draft that he has proposed to send to everybody in the R20 zone, which is pretty much from the old Howard Johnson south. He's drafted, and I've already given him some feedback, but it's a letter that would go to every resident, so no one will be targeted. And it would explain that, that we do have some rules on the books and that R20 does not allow chicken coops unless there's a special permit. And so they would have to apply, be denied, and then go to the Board of Appeals. And some of those complaints have been rooster complaints, and they've been from R20 zones because, as you know, the Nook is 5,100. And the lots are really small, and the zoning regs are specific to the back. It has to be in the backyard, and it's supposed to be 30 feet from any lot line. The Board of Health regs that we all drafted with them is 50 feet from the dwelling. So there's gonna be some problems.
Are you gonna try to deny people the right to have?
I'm not zoning.
Now, who was, that you spoke of, he was, that the title?
Oh, David Kulikowski, who is the new building zoning commissioner for Kingston.
Okay.
And this is for the R20 South.
So
Right.
I believe that everyone in the R20 district is gonna get a letter. And,
Okay,
and
yeah.
he's drafted, but it's just a draft. I've already made corrections. It would tell people this is what the existing laws
Mhm.
are.
Mm-hmm.
And then I suggested, because we've had problems in the past, he said, well, if you want to know your zoning district, call the offices. They're not gonna call. Because they're worried they're gonna be denied,
Mhm.
and they're not gonna call.
No, put it in the.
So I asked him to put, there are certain sections where you cannot have them
Mhm,
with a,
mhm.
that's it. There is no
Right.
appeal. And we've had problems in those sections in the
Mhm.
past. So he's gonna include that if you're in section whatever, conservation or, I think town center, you can't. I don't think you can appeal. I don't think so. So,
But-
we'll see.
What do you do with people who've had one
I don't
for a
know.
long time and no one said anything?
I don't know.
There's no grandfather, no grandfather clauses in
But,
there.
well, I mean, these zoning districts have been on the books for a
Doesn't
long time.
necessarily have to have a
And
clause. I
everybody's
mean,
been
it just can be.
Good neighbor.
No, it has not been very
I mean,
gray.
Yeah.
Because I know one of the gals that was on the
It's a big
planning
investment
board
that
that helped write those. And it's
Take
been a lot of
away.
years that they've.
You've had it
you
for a
know,
long time.
written.
It's a catch-22.
People may not realize where they have to go
Just as
to
a
ask about
Kind of a
the
rural community.
about my
and all of a
house.
sudden you deny.
I went to the town hall, the
It's
board
right
of
to
health,
farm.
and I asked.
Yeah,
them,
but
"What
that
do you
isn't
mean
farming,
farming?"
and that's
She said,
where,
"Well, farming,"
that's where
and they
people
told-
misinterpret
they
that.
told me,
Right to
"Absolutely
farm
not."
is for
He said
people like
elephants, and stuff
John.
like that,
Right.
like the little farm, there's no.
But I think people think that.
I was called in 1991.
No,
In
people think that though. They
1985,
think that, oh, it's right to farm, so I'm gonna get chickens.
They still are.
have-
very,
Yeah.
very clearly
Still
explained.
can't.
Yeah.
They changed it from piggeries,
Oh,
because a piggery is where you're raising and breeding pigs. Having pigs for meat is not a piggery, but
right.
so technically, and I think that's why they changed it. But I asked them and they assured me that it wasn't a problem.
And I've heard that before, but I think this
if I had
committee
those
and
with that kind of advice,
other places have done a better job. So that when someone calls to ask, I think they get more accurate
It's
answers
over
now.
20 years later, so
Yeah.
things are different.
And I brought your brochure
Yep.
to the meeting to show him. And also the keeping of livestock
The
from the
regulations.
Board of Health. I brought that too. So I'm hoping that a little bit of all that information can go into this. I think it's gonna end up being a 2-page letter. But, you know, you can do front to back.
Mhm,
And again, if it went to everybody,
right.
I think it's a step in the right. And what I didn't realize that he's got in here, I guess you don't need a building permit for coops that are smaller than 200 square feet, but the location counts.
Right.
And if you need electricity for your coop, you have to get an electrical permit. Using extension cords is illegal and a fire
Right.
hazard. Yeah, I didn't know that though. So
I don't think I'd want an extension cord running out.
I'm wondering if that's what happened across the street.
Those
And I
things are
had, by the way,
outside.
given him all the information.
Is he a new chicken farm?
Relative to you?
Well, they built the coop last year.
Mhm.
Well, that's pretty.
Actually, they got rid of all of them. They haven't had chickens in there now for maybe 6 months, but I just dropped them off, all the information.
What was the fire?
The fire was, they got chicks. I don't know what they got, if they got eggs or whatever, and they had a heater in the coop.
Yeah,
But when was
a
that?
heater. That was while I was on vacation.
Was it last week or the week before?
Oh, it was before.
Yeah.
Oh, so they were starting back up.
I
Yeah,
think
they were
the
starting
year
back
check
up,
said
yeah.
It was April or May.
Yeah, it was a good size. John said the claims were 30 feet in the
Yeah,
air, so. Anyway, that's what happened at that meeting. I haven't seen another draft yet. But I think it's gonna be relatively soon. The 2025 Massachusetts Fair Rules. I have taken a look at, but not a real close look. I'd like to call and talk to somebody, just to go over it with them.
You want Megan's number? I don't think she's the fair person, though.
I've got a gal that will talk to me, will answer the phone or call me right back. They are discouraging, domestic and wild waterfowl.
Mhm.
Um, And they're reserving the right to cancel, but they haven't. And as far as cows go, they're just saying, as of now, they need to be from New England because we don't have, the HB. The avian influenza in cows in New England. So I'm sure that O'Neill's are just, don't go anywhere.
Right.
So we have that, but they haven't written up the rules like they have in past years. It's really a different format completely.
New person.
But when you get, because I think you attached this as an attachment when,
I
okay,
do.
all right.
Yeah, yeah. So
Alright.
that anybody bringing animals understands there are state rules that they have to follow.
Right, because they're still gonna need a health certificate.
Mhm.
Does that apply, I was wondering, Christine's not here, but does that apply to horses?
Yes,
Because I know I've spoken to her several times about it. She's gone way out of state to purchase an animal and then bring it in.
yeah, so they all have to have veterinary certificates of health. And when you're doing fairs, the state allows you to get one at the beginning of the year, and then you don't have to get another one, and it runs through all the fairs. You're just supposed to list where you think you're gonna be going to.
The horses are only good for 30 days. The horse health certificates, I believe.
The way I, well,
Everybody else, dairy and everything else is good for the whole year.
is good for the whole year.
Yeah, but I think she said last time that the horses, they have to get one every 30 days.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll check.
I think you're probably right.
Mm.
Yeah, so I had gotten an inquiry from, one of the people involved. Remember I told you I had gotten an email from this woman and she wanted to know what the rules were. And I referred her to Board of Health and the zoning,
Yes,
yeah. Cause I was not gonna get any.
well, that was my other question. That's kind of off subject, but back to the fair. Is I think Joyce said it was $75 and This is,
Yeah.
like you had said, it's just 3
Yeah.
hours.
They gave us a special, ruling that it was 150 for the whole fair. Joe Kastner called me and said, we've worked this out and it's gonna be 150 for the whole fair, period. For everyone, covers everything.
Oh, so the food trucks don't have to get a special permit?
They have
They're
to get a special
separate.
permit, yeah. But
But don't they have to pay for that?
I think they do. Yeah.
There's already a
list.
huge list of
Yeah.
already certified food trucks. They did one big event and
Right,
certified so many of them that
Yeah.
the Board of Health sent out a list. It's extensive list. of
yeah, I
already-
have that list.
Yeah,
Oh,
already
good.
certified.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
but the problem is a couple of our vendors were not on there. Like the Kona
Yeah,
pizza guys not on there. And we had used, the ice cream truck from there across from the high school.
yes.
And that has now been bought by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I've got her name and information in my folder for the fair.
They're
Okay.
coming Tuesday. Oh, you're not gonna be there.
Hmm?
They're coming to music night
Okay,
next Tuesday.
okay. I don't know if they're gonna have an ice cream truck. And I have to get hold of the lady who had the other one and see what, if she's still in the ice cream business or what she's doing. Now that they're not at that location. And just as an aside, my favorite ice cream place, Dairy Twist, just sold their ice cream truck. So I don't know who bought it. So now I have to travel to Pembroke to get my ice cream.
So you think there'll be enough with that list?
It's really long.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty expensive. The
Yeah.
problem is getting them to come for just a few hours.
Um,
For many of them, it doesn't make financial
Yes.
sense.
Some, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If we had thousands of people coming, it would make sense, but if we only have 300 or 400.
right.
So, I think 42nd Brewery will come. Last year, they waited till the last minute to decide, and then, of course, they didn't have their
We
permit.
didn't have.
So
permit.
he told me this year, as soon as they get the invite, they're gonna get the permit.
Oh,
And then if they find that they can't do it later, they'll let me know, but they won't run into that problem.
That's the list of.
Yeah, it's a pretty.
That's an
extensive
older
list.
list too. They've added to it. I know
Yeah.
it's small, but
So
that's.
they did it smart
long.
this year. They had all the food trucks come to one location,
Mhm.
and then they had all the health
Oh, that's
inspectors come
great.
to that location.
Yeah.
And they did them all. Which made a lot of sense.
Mhm. And Brandy at the rec office has a whole list that she uses for our music nights too, that are already licensed
Mhm.
and do come for just a quick event. They'll
oh,
just come for our music nights and they're only 2-hour events, so
okay.
they might.
So that might be.
Yep.
Do you want me to get that from Brandy?
Sure. Every little thing I don't have to do, I appreciate.
I will. I go down there for my, gardening. Okay, so that's the fair. Chief Holmes was appointed at the Board of Selectmen meeting, as animal inspector, so he is going to be my alternate when I'm on vacation. Which,
Chief Holmes is a good place.
yes,
Not Wally.
Not Wally.
No.
Wally's been around for a while.
Does he have any background?
no. And I don't go on vacation too much, so, it's in the event, that the town needs a 10-day with a dog.
Oh,
They'll just arrest them.
We've had a lot of
Yes,
So I gave.
events this.
So-
past year. Yeah.
in that case, it's only the animal inspector that has the authority to say, this dog can't quarantine at this house. It has to be quarantined someplace else. 9 times out of 10, I just go over it, and that's what we do. We do it. That's the way it goes. You do quarantine at the owner's residence. But there are some cases where you don't want the dog there, and so they need, if that were to happen when I was out of state,
Then
it
he-
would be a
he-
problem.
He could do it.
And Chief Holmes was a former canine handler prior,
Okay.
so that's probably a
So it's
little
great.
bit of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, plus I don't think anyone's gonna question.
No. he'll just arrest
His
him.
authority.
Maybe, but you would hope not, right?
So, having said that, I am going to Ashburnham, on vacation from June 22nd to the 29th. And I'll send out,
Again, you're gonna.
I
take it
am.
Again?
I am going with the family to Ashburn to a cottage on a pond.
Nice.
We did the egg schools and I think that's it for me. I'll just try and remember all the stuff that I'm gonna include in the farm book buzz. Or I will do that soon because I want to get out the Zoom edition. I'm all set.
Thank you. Anything else that anyone would like to
I have a
bring
few
up? with this?
items.
Okay,
Salmonella is back. In eggs.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
People don't seem to understand these mega farms are petri dish
Oh,
of the
yeah.
seas. You know, and there are farms in Kansas and Arkansas and places like that that have 5 million
Yeah.
chickens.
I watched it. I watched the documentary. on
And it's just too much
it. Mm,
livestock in one place.
in one place.
And you cannot control that. And once it gets out, it's, if you saw the news, they've had to pull, I don't know, millions of cartons of eggs from places.
Mm.
In the Midwest. So it's back and it'll make its way east like in all the others do,
But right now, it's not here.
not here, you know.
how's
Another
it
thing is,
transmitted, Rui?
Huh?
How's it transmitted? I mean, is it just from, poor hygiene?
yeah, poor hygiene.
Yeah.
It's not as if it goes from bird to bird, it's from its conditions.
Filth.
Okay,
And you know, I've taught that, how to raise chickens in your backyard. And I can't seem to get it through the head of some people that you've got to collect that manure and get it out of there. You know, I'm fortunate in that I have an outlet for it, but you just can't let it build and build, and especially when you get out of the warm weather. You get the heat from the hens dealing with the cold coming into the building, and the manure just gets damp and dank. It's got to be cleaned out. People don't get that.
It smells so bad, though.
But
The
that's
smell of it is horrible.
Not if you clean it.
I know, but like, would almost force people to clean it, right? Like,
Some people,
Well, and there's that method where you let it build up,
yeah.
which is an accepted method.
Next interesting point of view is that your orange juice prices are probably going to go up. Because 75% of the pickers of oranges in California haven't been showing up to work on one that's wide. Except that they're,
vegetables across the board.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, when you see on the
I
media,
didn't even think of that.
you see masked guys with guns chasing people down loads of vegetables.
Yeah.
You know why the pickers aren't showing up.
Yeah.
Oh,
The other thing, Silver Lake, the CTE, Career Technical Ed Department, and they just put in the word out there, is looking for a teacher in the horticultural department. Ethan D'Angelo, who's been there for a number of years, sold all his property in Bellingham, and his father sold his property. They had a lot of land, and they're moving to Arkansas. And I think he's gonna raise cows. I had talked to him a while back. So they're looking for another teacher in the horticulture department. And you don't have to have the certificates. I mean, you just have to have the experience. Because there's a process in Massachusetts education, that if you get hired to be a teacher and you have the qualifications in the subject area, then they give you a certain period of time to pick up, you know, you have to take education courses, and you can take them on, some of them online and some of them at Bridgewater State, in order to eventually get hired as a permanent teacher. And so they're looking for somebody, but other than that, something.
The distemper is up on the, MDR website. They've had some problems with puppies coming into the state for rescue.
Is that right?
Came in distemper, which Massachusetts hasn't had in,
Mm.
I don't know how long. And they said they're worried because a lot of even vets haven't seen it, so they don't know what they're looking at because we
Oh,
haven't
boy.
had it in so long.
There are a lot of people dealing with animals that have no idea what they're doing.
And a lot of the rescues don't follow the state guidelines, I found.
I think it's cute to have little goats.
Yeah.
Chicken,
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
oysters, pet oysters.
Pet oysters is a new one.
John, I just wanted to remind everybody that the second annual Massachusetts Urban Agricultural Week is August 10th through the 16th. And they're gonna provide activities in cities across the Commonwealth. Urban farmers will host activities and events that educate, celebrate, as well as advocate food production in our state's urban centers. So as I get these letters from MDAR, I'm sending them out to you guys. And as I'm getting the CMAP newsletters, I'm sending those out.
I wonder if that's a source. I think the people involved with that are, with they're trying to promote it. I wonder if this is potential for a speaker from them.
From MDAR.
From MDR, it depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Their inspectors are way overworked.
Mm.
Oh,
They have the whole state to, sometimes only one person is in charge. But, I mean, if there was something specific, they do have a lot
No,
of
I didn't
people
know
there,
what
and
they
they,
were-
they might come down
they're
with something.
promoting urban
Oh,
gardening.
I don't
just
know
wondered
those
if there was
people. I know
somebody-
the animal people,
Yeah,
but I wonder.
Yeah. Urban farmers. I was mentioning that, the CMAP newsletter said that there's 12 acres available in Carver for vegetable growing.
It's all right.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, there's
Free
lots of
range
good stuff
chickens.
in there. Yeah.
Free reign. Yeah.
Those red-tailed hawks. They're
Love them. Free reign was that. Circle of life, really, circle of life.
The Gary Watts.
Yeah.
The osprey loved my chickens.
Osprey? Really?
Seriously.
I saw.
They were
a raven
huge.
The other day when I was in Plymouth.
And they just
That was the first time I've
leave
seen a
them right
raven
there.
around
Eat
here.
'em.
A raven.
Yeah, apparently a lot of ravens in Plymouth.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think they get back to chickens.
they loved them.
The head was not a crow, it was a big raven and.
They would leave the
But
fish
in Plymouth.
at the end of their nest way up and chicken stuff too. It was gross.
Wow. Not from their point of view. so.
I didn't think that they'd hold the chickens.
Tastes like chicken.
So mean, those poor babies.
We have coyotes and fox in our neighborhood and they
Yeah.
keep the squirrel and
Well, send me a fox, please, because the squirrels in my yard, and squirrels and chipmunks are taking
Yeah.
over.
and even the
And
rabbit.
rabbit.
Yeah.
Get a pellet.
Not enough coyotes around. I think that. I feel like must
I
be-
took them away.
No,
I
not
think
not-
it's-
pellet.
I'd rather have a box.
Not really.
Well, yeah,
No, the coyotes in our neighborhood are killing the baby deer.
really?
Somebody
have a
said
lot
they,
too.
they saw one, they had half the baby deer in their mouth, they came back later, got the other half.
Yeah.
The coyotes are bad, they're bad off of Summer Street too. They run through it.
There's a lot
After
of place
everything.
around here for them.
They're not on May Avenue.
Mhm.
They used to be. They used to come,
Go
they used to walk up and down it from the track,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Prospect,
Yeah.
but not anymore.
Well, they cleared out that lot at the end too. That may have.
I bet with all the dense stuff.
Yeah.
They were along the tracks, there was a couple.
Yeah, it was a
Mhm.
sort
But
of highway for 'em.
they're always looking for foliage that they can kind of hide in, so they kind of cleaned that out.
We used to have a lot of coyotes at my house. I hardly ever hear them. They're still over by the water department, but,
Yeah.
and every time we get snow, I go out and look for tracks and I think I'm lucky to see them once during the whole winter.
Oh.
And they don't, you know, they were part of my animals. It's funny, because they'll walk like this far, the pen's there, they're like way over there, you know, walking by. Maybe they're afraid.
Checking things,
Yeah, I think they're scared of goats.
Anytime.
Are you
Um,
on next meeting?
I guess we, um,
Normally it would be on the 10th. I will not.
would it be the 10th, the second or the third week?
It's usually the second. Remember we changed to the second?
No, I don't remember anything.
We changed to the second Thursday.
Well, how about the 17th? Does that work for everyone?
I'll be high as a kite, probably. That's the day of my surgery.
Oh,
I don't have to be here, John. You guys know Christine and, what's her husband?
Bruce.
Bruce are in Nova
Nova
Scotia.
Scotia, yeah.
That's why they're not
They didn't
here.
reply to, I'm walking in.
Hmm?
They didn't reply to my text and I was walking in, so.
No, no,
You
they're
don't- you don't know
vacationing
that.
in Nova Scotia. Somebody has relatives.
So is there a problem with the 10th?
I just,
You won't be here for the 10th?
no, you don't need me. You
We do.
do it for the 10th.
Well, I'll be lost.
I have-
Walking around.
I have to know so I can get the agenda posted.
Does anybody have a preference?
10th is good.
10th is good. 10th's good.
So I'll-
That's good.
I'll
Sounds
post-
good to me.
Anywhere.
Yeah, I'll post that next week, John.
Thanks.
Spray season.
I have summers off, so anything in July months is great.
Yeah, when's your school end?
Tomorrow. That day tomorrow.
You're
So
almost singing it, aren't you?
exciting.
What do you teach?
In Duxbury,
Third grade?
fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
Actually, this is my last classroom year. I moved to a math specialist position next year.
Oh, nice.
25 years in the classroom and
You're done.
my last one. Yeah, it's a little sad, but there was some positions to be saved because we didn't have the Prop 2.5 go through, so it saves a teacher position.
Debbie, what did they determine started the fire? No, on your street, in the chicken.
Heat lamp.
It was the heat lamp.
Too close to the,
I don't have that, I didn't, that wasn't talked about at the meeting, but I know that was the cause of it. I don't know if it was an extension cord or what, I don't know.
people try to put the lamps too close to the baby chicks. It should be 18 inches off the ground.
Well, some of them have the clamp too, and I wonder if that
Fell
failed, you know, and it fell.
into the
But you-
sawdust.
You still
Yeah.
generally have a cage around the lamp.
Yeah,
Although if it's in wood shade, it's,
I use the lamps and I tie it with like 3 separate hay ropes. So one hay rope
I do
breaks,
that. Yeah.
you know, you have to tell 2 more,
Too bad, so it's not gonna fall. Yeah.
right, no matter what, it's not gonna fall. You gotta break three separate individual hay ropes for it to fly. And they're nylon, they're really hard to break.
I used
Well,
to
not
put
to
them on my
burn,
3
though.
season porch.
No, but the lamp is here and they have a little clamp. And you
So that
tie
would
it around the
cut it
clamp, and
inside.
you tie it to the rafter.
They're gross.
Yeah,
inside.
yeah,
And the lamps can only be
like
as low
every
as
twice
let
a
it go.
day.
Yeah.
But if one of them breaks,
Yep.
or the
You're in
the
trouble.
other 2 are hanging on. Because they're not, it's not like,
When I
it
had
goes uphill.
birds in churches, I
Mhm.
just
Totally
started
separate
outside, I mean,
sides.
I just left them to their own
Never got a
devices
camera.
and they. No camera, no
Burn a
nothing.
camera.
Anyway, shall we adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.